Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Hey there, Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Hope everyone's doing well today. Let's see if I can get the adjustment right on the screen there. Whoa, Ray's face is looking really big. Let's pull it back a little bit. There we go. How's that? Let's move the microphone a little bit. There we go. We're ready to rock and roll. How you doing today? You can hear me today. I figured out how to work the volume today. So that's a positive. Sorry about that yesterday where I had the volume off for the first 95 seconds of the show or whatever. We have rectified the problem. We are good to go here on Fantasy Sports Daily. I am Ray Flowers of Fantasy Sports Daily, and I just noticed my sweatshirt's green. I have a green screen, so you see the sparklies on me? I can see it on the shoulder here. Got some sparklies going on. For those of you wondering what the hell Ray's talking about, the show is live, obviously, every day and all over the place at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If you're watching us on Facebook at facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ or on YouTube at youtube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork, you can see me. And that's really important. Well, it's not really important to see me. I don't care if you see me. You can go to fantasyguru.com, click the Elite Plus tab at the top of the page, listen to the show there. You can type Fantasy Sports Daily into your podcast network, listen to it there. But today it is important for those of you to see the screen that are with us today. And whether you're able to do this live or on demand, by the way, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, as you all know, you can leave comments and questions that we'll address throughout the show, which is kind of a cool thing, right? Today we need this visual representation because we got some things going on. Let me throw up on the screen what we're talking about today, and you'll understand why that is. 3. It's the number of the days on the calendar until the 2025 MLB Draft Guide drops at FantasyGuru.com. Now, you don't need to see the screen for that, but this is really good news. I'm really excited about that. I was just looking into getting some things done. We got a lot going on at FantasyGuru.com, including this baseball product. Go to the site, click the Elite Plus tab, click the subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page, get signed up for the product. You can sign up right now. You can sign up for the seasonal product, the DFS product, or the wagering product. You can get any of the three. You can get all three. You can do that over at FG right now if you want. But on the 6th of January, Monday, the newness, the new greatness, the new information for 2025 becomes available for you at fantasyguru.com. That'll include all kinds of rankings and articles and Discord access and on and on and on. And we'll break that down next week. We'll get into a little bit more detail as to what the product offers. But no, right now, it's 3 days until we go. Right now, again, you can purchase the product. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner at fantasyguru.com. 3 days away on the 6th, Monday, the day after the football season, the regular season ends, we are launching the baseball product. We'll have dynasty rankings, rookie rankings, mixed league rankings, AL only rankings, NL only rankings, auction values. We got a lot of rankings because I know that's what everyone's looking for. We'll have that moving forward at fantasyguru.com. And you can also see the link there directly if you want to go. And remember, we still do have the ability right now to get, I believe the gift cards are still available. And I believe we're still giving away that little bonus feature with them. So you can get the bonus card right now if you go to fantasyguru.com/product/gift-card. fantasyguru.com/product/gift-card. If you spend $50, I think you get 65. Something like that, right? So we give you a free FG bucks. So you can actually go get the gift card for yourself right now and apply it to the baseball package or apply it to any of the packages. Sign up for the MVP package, which is basically all the sports besides baseball and football. You can still get involved with the football product if you want to do that right now. Send a note to support@fantasyguru.com. Support@fantasyguru.com. Send that note and say, hey, Ted, I'd like to get the football product. I'd like to do some betting here the rest of the way. I'd like to play some DFS. Ted will hook you up there as well. Going back to what the show is today, the reason it's so important to have the visual is because, as you see there, we're doing a pack break. Yeah, buddy, we're doing a pack break to get ready for the baseball season. We'll talk about that here in a few moments. After the pack break, we'll talk some news and notes for Week 18 of the NFL season. Should still be playing, as we've talked about a lot, whether you're playing seasonal, DFS, or wagering. Should still be playing fantasy football. There's a lot of news breaking. We'll discuss that, backfield situations, quarterback changes, wide receivers, all that kind of stuff. About a half hour from now, Russell Clay will join us. Russell's our dynasty guy over at fantasyguru.com. So we'll talk a little bit about the future outlook for older players like Aaron Rodgers and DeShaun Watson, younger players like Drake Maye and Anthony Richardson. What about Christian McCaffrey? How do we value T. Higgins not knowing where he's going to play? We'll talk to Russell Clay about those situations moving forward. All right, let's get into it. Let's do a pack break. I talked about this yesterday. What we're doing today is we're celebrating the 2024 Topps Holiday Mega Box. All right, this is a 10-pack situation. You can get autograph. You can get autograph cards. Yep, you can get autograph relic cards. You can get jersey cards. You can even get these cards like Bobby Witt here. Apparently, he wore a Santa hat, and then they put the Santa hat in the card. So there you go. So I think this box is like $40, $45, something like that. It's 10 packs. You're guaranteed to get what's the guarantee on the box? One relic, autograph, or autograph relic in every box. I will show you what I got next week. I already found my jersey card. I'll find that next week. I'll share that as we celebrate the launch of the draft guide. As I showed yesterday on the show, it also came with the free ornament. It's a Jackson Holiday ornament card. Here's the little gingerbread house. It's kind of like a refractor look. Oh, I can't get it because of the green. It's kind of a refractor look. He's wearing a ho-ho hat. I guess he has a hat in there we could get. We didn't get his hat as part of the cards. I see Angela asking, no, there is no stale gum in this box. There are just packs. I also see Angela asking, is that Skeens card still out there? I don't know. I'm not sure, to be fair. But yeah, there's all these one-of-one cards and all that, which is so bizarre to me because I'm used to just opening packs up. And, the old days we would get inserts, they were stickers, and they were worth like 5 cents. Now, obviously, everyone's hunting for the inserts. There are some inserts in this. We'll kind of go through this. Old Big League Chew, by the way, Sean, the old Big League Chew. Let's see here. Hold on one second. We're having some fun here on a Friday. By the way, Fantasy Sports Daily. I don't even know if I said my name. I'm Ray Flowers. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Tell a friend. How about that? How about that, Sean? Sour Apple Big League Chew. You can't tell because it's got a green background, so it's disappearing in my green screen. So it looks actually pretty super cool. For those of you not being able to see this, that looks actually pretty dope. But it's a green pack. You can kind of see it there in front of me. There it is. Big League Chew. I got you. I got you, Sean. I got you. All right. So let's open up this pack of cards. We're going to get in there. See if I can do it. Hold on. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Pack break. No idea what this is, obviously. Here we go. All right. Oh, I see an insert. Something shiny. Spencer Steer. So for those people wondering what these cards look like, they're very festive. Obviously, there's a Santa Claus and a stocking behind here. That's like an all-rookie. Yeah, that's a little all-rookie thing. So there's Spencer Steer in the throwback, or the odd, whatever. I don't know. That's not a Reds jersey. It is, but it's not. The back of the card, it's got the traditional statistical analysis. It says at the bottom here, in 2023, Spencer became the fourth rookie and the first since Nomar Garciaparra and Scott Rowland in 1997 to go 2015 with 35 doubles. And he also forged a 928 OPS against lefties. Spencer Steer, by the way, was even better last year. Spencer Steer is going to be pretty highly ranked this year. Multi-position guy, by the way. So this is the 2024 holiday box again. These cards going through 2023. I guess we should have got a 2025 holiday box. Nolan Jones, who was almost 2020 as a rookie and then absolutely horrendous last year. So Nolan Jones, ho, 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 Nolan Jones. Oh, now this guy's a problem. I don't know. Do you guys feel like I feel... Okay, yeah. I'll hold the cards here to make it look like I'm not actually pulling them out of my hand pocket or something. Spencer Torkelson may not even be a starter for the Tigers at this point. They're moving. Who are they moving to first base? Dang it, I'm drawing a blank right now. Someone help me out in chat. But Spencer Torkelson is vying for the DH spot. They might even trade him with the Tigers. Excuse me. So much promise when he hit 30 home runs a couple of years ago. Last year was a disaster for Spencer Torkelson. He's trying to find his footing this year with the Tigers and with their offseason player decisions. It sounds very much like he's on the outs. Colt Keith is going to move to first base. They're going to obviously use Gleyber Torres at second base. Oh, the insert's coming up. You can see it. You can see it there. It's the next card up. Joey Loperfido. who was obviously on the Astros last year, got traded to the Blue Jays, or vice versa. Joey Loperfido. That's actually not a bad card. Now, here's interesting. I don't know if I have a Cincinnati Reds box. Okay. But my card for the jersey might be a Cincinnati Red. And our insert here is another Cincinnati Red, Christian Encarnacion Strand. Now, that one's kind of hard to see on the green screen. This green screen's kind of, I guess you can see it down there a little bit. It's kind of a refractor-ish. It's a blue card. What is this? This is a blue refractor. I'm trying to see. What are the inserts? What is this? This is a blue holiday tree parallel, maybe? I think. Is one of these a box? Christian Encarnacion Strand. Looking to come back from injury and hopefully have a huge impact this season. Jack Leiter, big arm. Still kind of looking to find his footing, obviously, at the major league level. Secondary stuff questions, but he'll be seen and heard from this year. We'll see how effective he is for the Rangers. Trey Lipscomb. Wow, we're really got a big one there. I think Trey Lipscomb's card looks better here on the screen than it actually does in real life because it's Trey Lipscomb. Yeah, sorry, Trey. Oh, Vlad Guerrero, who had an excellent season last year, looking for a huge contract. He's got one more year with the Blue Jays, looking for a huge contract. The rumors are that the Blue Jays are trying to bring in Anthony Santander to help support him and Bichette and the others in the lineup as they try to convince Vlad Jr. to stay with the team long term. Henry Davis, who was an elite draft pick, was he number one? Let's see if I can think of it. Was he number one pick overall? Yeah, drafted number 1 in 2021, and his defense has caused him to no longer be looked at as the catcher. They got Andy Rodriguez. Why am I having such a hard time thinking this morning? I don't know what it is. You know what it is? I'll tell you exactly what it is. The problem I'm dealing with this morning is I'm still in football mode. I haven't made that transition over. I guess I'll make that transition on Monday, and we can all do that together because I'm sounding like slightly doofusy. They got Joey Bart there. We'll figure out what the Pirates are doing, but it's a big season for Henry Davis. Struggled with context tremendously at the major league level. And then finally, arguably the best or most consistent right-handed pitcher in baseball, Zach Wheeler. Other guys might be better. Other guys might be more talented. But year after year, Zach Wheeler gives you 190 innings, 190 strikeouts, and there just ain't that many guys doing that. So there we go. There's the pack. We'll open more next week. Again, Christian Encarnacion Strand here with his blue refractor-ish card. And again, I think they're calling, if I'm looking at the thing right, I think they're calling that a blue holiday tree parallel. Could be wrong on that, but I think that's what I'm seeing. I don't know. I'm so far out of the card game. For those of you that don't know, you could probably tell. It's been years. I have tons of cards, and I have cards going. My collection goes back to the 70s. I don't have a lot of older cards. I've always wanted to. I just never done it. I got to buy some tobacco cards or something at some point back from the 19-teens or whatever. But most of my cards go back to the 70s. I was a kid in the 80s, so I collected all the score cards that are worth nothing, all the Topps cards that are overproduced. You know, anything that they made 600,000 copies of, I have. So I don't necessarily have the most expensive sets, anything like that, but I've got a lot of cards. Maybe I'll share them as we move forward here. Let me know if that's something that interests you. And again, next week we'll continue to open up the cards, kind of as a celebration of the draft guide being launched over at fantasyguru.com. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. All right, before we get too far gone here, let's talk a little football. Hey, we got an insert card. It was Christian Encarnacion Strand. It wasn't super exciting, but we got an insert card. That's pretty good. Let's talk a little football here before we visit with Russell Clay and talk some Dynasty Keeper stuff with him in 15, 20 minutes. Lots of news obviously breaking. There'll be continuing storylines developing. It's Friday morning, 9:15 Pacific time, so obviously there's a lot that can change at the NFL level for this Week 18, this hugely impactful game for some teams, hugely unimportant for others. Now, we say that, and as we've discussed here on the show previously, let's be very clear about something. Yeah, I got a new Australian mug, too, for my dog. You can follow him on Twitter X. No, on Instagram, at OllieAussieDog. No, none of these games are really unimportant. All these players' careers are very short. The line between being out of the NFL and in the NFL is tiny. Between being in the starting lineup and out of the starting lineup is small. You have to constantly prove yourself to stay on the football field. So I don't think they always mean something to the players and the coaches too, because coaches get fired and released. Sometimes they move up, right? All of these things matter. Bailey Zappe, though, is going to be the starter for the Browns this week. The Browns made a business decision, and the business decision they made is that again, I'm just speaking out my ass here, but they didn't care if they won games. DTR is awful. Okay, so at least they're going to Bailey Zappe instead of DTR because DTR is just not it. I'm sorry, he's just not it. Is Jameis Winston it? He reinvigorated the team. He brought excitement to the team. He flings the ball over the place, makes bad decisions. This is Jameis Winston, right? I guess his shoulder is messed up, so I don't know how much of this is he's hurt versus, you have to think if the Browns are, 10-6 and going to the playoffs that Jameis Winston's healthy enough to play. But they're going Bailey Zappe this week. I don't think that's a negative for the offense because, again, DTR is just so bad that I think Bailey Zappe actually is a slight improvement. Now, it's nothing to get excited about. He's obviously not someone you're going to be starting this week. I wouldn't get crazy with him, even in DFS against the Ravens. The Ravens are likely to throttle the Browns. The Browns will likely be in catch-up mode. They'll likely have to throw the ball. So, but still, it's Bailey Zappe, and it's hard to get, even with that scenario that looks great on paper, really hard to get excited about him. And that is further buttressed by the fact that there's some injury issues with the Browns that are significant. Obviously, Nick Chubb is already out of the mix there with his injury. Jerome Ford, who hurt his ankle last week, he's not going to play this week, so his season is over. It's unclear whether Pierre Strong is going to be able to play through his head injury, so it might be Donta Foreman in the backfield, and he's fine. He's a perfectly capable running back, but he's just a guy. He doesn't break tackles. He just gets what's blocked. So that's very boring. He's not a pass catcher, so that really limits their ability to utilize the running back in that manner this week for Bailey Zappe, which is not a positive. David Njoku, who has had moments this year, including when Jameis Winston took over. He's catching 7 passes every week. David Njoku's not going to play this week. He's got an ankle issue himself. So both Ford and Chubb and Njoku, all three of those guys, are done for the season. Both Ford and Njoku out this week. Kind of expected, but still disappointing. Njoku only played 11 games this year, and that's a real concern because he's missed time. And Njoku is a tremendous talent who can do a lot of things on a football field, but he has a hard time staying on the football field. There is no obvious pivot here. You go Jordan Akins. Jordan Akins actually, he's the pivot. I should have said there is an obvious pivot. There's not an obvious pivot to start in the fantasy space is what I should have said. I'm having a hard time today. Sorry about that. I must have got too excited about my cards. Woo. Jordan Akins is, 4 for 40. He can do something like that, right? And we actually saw that from him last week. And Bailey Zappe will probably be looking to get him the ball. Chris Tillman has been placed on the IR. He had a head injury and didn't play after week 12. So that obviously is a significant head injury. Let's wish him the best. The Browns are playing out the string here, looking to get a high draft pick and pick a good player next year to build around. That's really what we got. The Niners situation is unclear. We got the news that Joshua Dobbs is going to start for this team. We also got the report this morning officially from the team, which is what we talked about on Monday when I talked about what Dr. David Chow, the former NFL doctor, had to say after looking at Brock Purdy's injury on film. He basically said, don't worry about it. It'll be fine long term. Niners came out and said the same thing today. There's no real concern here with the UCL in his elbow that's been repaired. There's no real concern with his arm. They're 6-10 and it doesn't matter. And they don't want to risk it. And the season's lost. So Brock Purdy should go into the offseason, have a normal offseason. Will the Niners pay him? I guess it seems possible that they'll do that. Give him that big contract. And then they'll see if they can keep the team around him together healthy. Obviously, situations with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, huge toward the Niners' future. Speaking of Deebo Samuel, didn't practice yesterday. That's 2 days in a row. He hasn't practiced. If they're 10-6, he probably plays. They're 6-10. Does he play? I don't know. And we saw last week the fact that even though he got in the end zone, Deebo Samuel, that he won target. It was Ricky Pearsall catching 8 balls for 140 yards. So at this point in time, Deebo Samuel obviously is just not. You can't be playing him in DFS. If you're still playing in seasonal, it's hard not to play Deebo Samuel if he's active. If you're playing 3 wide receivers, if you're in a deeper league, if you don't have a banging roster. But at this point in time, I'd really lean away from Deebo if I could. And again, I don't even know if he's going to play for certain this week. Well, it's not a certainty that Isaac Guerendo plays this week. He's going to play this week. He's got that hamstring issue. He's a full participant in practice yesterday. He was a full participant in practice on Wednesday as well. He's going to play this week. He and Joshua Dobbs in the backfield against that Arizona team. The Niners might have to lean on this group anyway, because let's face it, George Kittle's not right. We don't know if Deebo Samuel's going to play. We just talked about it. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk is out of the mix. Juwan Jennings is there, so he'll be a huge part. Jennings and Guerendo might have some significant workloads this week, so we'll continue to monitor this situation very closely as we head into the weekend. The old Bay Area team who's now in Las Vegas, the Raiders. Ameer Abdullah has really taken over the backfield the last couple of weeks. And when Ameer Abdullah takes over your backfield, your team isn't good. This guy's been around for 8 years, whatever it is. He's a support back. If he's your lead running back, you're not in good shape. That's not a surprise. The Raiders have not been in good shape all year. Ameer Abdullah actually ran for 100 yards last time out. First time a Raiders back ran for 100 yards this season. Hurt his foot late in the game. Didn't practice on Wednesday because of the foot. Didn't practice yesterday because of the foot. It's starting to look like he's not going to play this week. And that's, not a huge surprise. It's disappointing, right? Because he has, in essence, taken over the backfield. Even though Alexander Madison is there, we know who Alexander Madison is too. Alexander Madison is also a support player. He's not a guy that should be touching the ball 18 times a week. If Ameer Abdullah is out, Alexander Madison's likely to touch it 18 times this week, right? So keep an eye on that situation. Obviously, the Raiders will look to have to bring in somebody in this offseason. They got to. Of course, the head coach might be gone. They don't necessarily have an answer at quarterback. There's a lot of changes, a lot of things that need to be addressed and changes that need to be made for the Raiders. Former Raider Josh Jacobs, who's got a wrist issue, who's broken, 500 tackles this year, who's carried the ball 477 times. I'm exaggerating. He's had a hard, tough season. And he's completely reinvigorated his career after last year looking like ass. He was limited at practice on Thursday, and he said during the media session, here's the quote, "I don't see me taking that many carries in this game. I'm playing, but I don't see myself taking 30 carries, unquote." Well, he's not getting 30 carries anytime, so okay. But when he says he's playing, but he doesn't see himself taking that many carries, Brooks and Wilson are there for the Packers. The Packers don't have to, they don't need him this week per se. So Josh Jacobs is not somebody in DFS we're paying up for. In seasonal, if you have Josh Jacobs, and I do in one league, Jeff Mann's home league we talk about, we play week 18. I'm leaning towards starting Josh Jacobs because I could still get me that 13-45 and a touchdown kind of thing. But you can't be expecting the full workload. You can't be expecting the 20 touches this week from Josh Jacobs. Will Shipley's got a concussion that he's coming back from, but he was a full participant in practice yesterday for the Eagles. It looks like he's going to play this week. He'll share the backfield with Gainwell. It might be a lot of Shipley, though. I don't know. For those that missed the news story, and we talked about here on the show yesterday, Barkley's not going to get a chance to break the all-time rushing record. Devonta Smith still not practicing. A.J. Brown's still not practicing. Kenny Pickett's not practicing. So this could be a complete shutdown effort where the Eagles just try to win 10-7, try to run the ball 35 times. I don't know. I'm guessing there, but it's starting to really look like they're going to have to grind out a victory this week if they get one against that Giants team that they're obviously still superior to. But Will Shipley, he's somebody that a lot of people were excited about 6 months ago. Obviously, that didn't pan out at all. But he could be in play this week in DFS. He could be in play in seasonal this week, too, to be fair. And don't forget, the rankings are up at fantasyguru.com. Had a lot of people ask about that question. Well, the rankings, it's really weird to me. I guess everyone who's been following us at fantasyguru.com doesn't know the system. The system is the rankings get updated Friday night, Saturday morning, every week by Jeff Mans. It's been the same every single week this season. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is still in the rankings right now. Why? Because the rankings haven't been updated. Because there's no games to worry about this week. There's no Thursday games. There's no games to worry about this week until Saturday. So the rankings will absolutely, without question, be updated before game action tomorrow starts, before the game action on the weekend starts. So you can look for that over at fantasyguru.com. I'm still planning on answering Stardom Situms this Sunday at SiriusXM Fantasy from 10 to 1 Eastern time. 10 to 1 Eastern on Sundays at SiriusXM Fantasy. I'm the guy answering the questions. So if people give you the right advice, I'm the people. If people give you bad advice, I'm the people. It's not Jeff. It's not Bob. It's not someone else. It's me. So I'm the one giving the advice there, 10 to 1 Eastern at SiriusXM Fantasy. If you want to hit me up before then, obviously I'm at next 2 days. I'll be at the website at fantasyguru.com answering questions in Discord. But again, I would really focus on the rankings this week because we should have all been doing that all season long anyway. To be fair, a lot of people kind of missed the boat. We'll talk about that next year. We're going to have Discord rules and everything. We've talked about that. We'll have new rules next year to simplify things at fantasyguru.com. A few minutes away from talking some Dynasty Keeper stuff with Russell Clay. Some Saints updates. Derek Carr is non-participant again with his hand yesterday. I guess there's an outside shot he plays this week. Starting to really look like he won't, though. Spencer Rattler probably makes another start for the Saints. Alvin Kamara has not been able to – Alvin Kamara, yes, has a groin issue. He hasn't been able to practice. It's starting to look like his season is over. He's starting to look like he's going to fall short of the 1,000 rushing yards yet again. I guess there's always a chance they try to get him out there to get that 1,000-yard rushing. But at this point in time, maybe we're surprised today, right? But at this point in time, it just doesn't seem like he's going to be active. Kenry Miller's coming back from the concussion. He's not practicing. He's almost surely out too. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire show. Let's go, baby. CEH likely to lead the Saints backfield this week. We've talked about some wide receivers such as Terry McLaurin, so let's talk about him again. He was listed as a full participant in practice yesterday after getting that rest day on Wednesday. He's got the ankle, but it's a minor issue. He's going to play this week against the Cowboys. The Commanders can improve their playoff seeding. And as we've discussed multiple times this week, one catch for 5 yards is what McLaurin did last week. He can't go into the playoffs that way. So look for him to have a big first half against the Cowboys. Josh Palmer didn't practice again yesterday. He's got the foot issue. He is obviously, that's 2 days in a row without a practice. He is trending toward not being active this week for the Chargers. Ladd McConkey, he's dealing with the foot too or something, heel, whatever the hell he's dealing with, ribs. I don't remember Ladd McConkey. It's his body. He's likely to play this week. Keep an eye there. You never know. And likely to continue to catch those 5, 6, 7 passes as he does every week. But Josh Palmer trending toward not being available this weekend for the Chargers. Chig Okonkwo's got an abdomen issue. He was a limited participant in practice on Thursday. This is an injury we haven't heard about previously. Is it new? Is it just something they finally told us about? We don't know. The Titans, we're unclear. Tyjae Spears is still not practicing with his head injury, as we've talked about this week. Unlikely, in my opinion, that he plays this week. We still don't know about Tony Pollard playing through the ankle injury. So there's a scenario where Pollard and Spears are both out for the Titans. There's a scenario where this team uses both quarterbacks this week. We've already heard that. Levis and Rudolph both might see snaps. And there's a scenario where Chig Okonkwo doesn't play. Oof, like that Titans against that Texans team, that gets ugly really quick. At the same time, I think it's too early to panic on Chig Okonkwo. I think what we've seen from him, 8, 9, 5 catches, something like that. I'm making that up. I think that's right. What we've seen from the last 3 weeks, if he's active, I don't know how he's not a consideration to play, even in DFS, certainly in seasonal, he's playing. But there are question marks swirling around that Titans team. And then finally, I wanted to talk about the Jets situation just for a second. We talk about Aaron Rodgers, and it's unclear if he's going to play next year. And we're going to talk to Russell Clay here in a few moments about Aaron Rodgers. What's his value in a Dynasty or Keeper League? But there is a report out there, or there are reports out there that Mike Vrabel is going to be interviewed today by the Jets. I guess yesterday or the last couple of days, Ron Rivera was interviewed by the Jets. The Jets offseason is going to be a significant one because this is almost a reset moment again. Remember, Zach Wilson was brought in and this was supposed to be the savior. It didn't work out. Aaron Rodgers was brought in, supposed to be the savior. It didn't work out. Robert Saleh was brought in, supposed to be the savior. It didn't work out. It's been a long road of mediocrity to poor play from the Jets. I think Ron Rivera gets a lot out of his players. Everyone likes Ron Rivera. Okay, so I think he'd be a solid hire. I think Mike Vrabel would be the better hire, though. Mike Vrabel's had tremendous success as a head coach in this league. With the Titans, the Titans were always in ball games, winning games against opponents that they were inferior talent-wise to. I think that would be an excellent signing for a team that needs some strong voice at the top, right? They need it bad. And I think Mike Vrabel could be that guy for the Jets. We'll see if it plays out that way or not. Remember, the rankings will be updated later today at fantasyguru.com. Tonight, tomorrow morning, so I can't say today. It might be technically after midnight, but they will be updated prior to the start of games tomorrow. We're continuing to follow the information. We'll be answering questions in Discord. Our next guest, Russell Clay, he'll be in Discord talking to people, I'm sure, over the next couple of days. I will as well. Tua Tagovailoa, just get an update here. He's not expected to need surgery, but it looks like he's going to miss the game. How bad is this hip issue? I mean, we all tend to see, okay, well, he's happy, he's smiling on the sidelines, and he looks okay in his sweats. I mean, there's seasons on the line. He's not playing. I guess it's a significant injury, but not expected to need surgery, which is good news. Let's see here. Tyler Huntley's going to start from this week, so there you go. Fire up your Tyler Huntley shares. Don't fire up your Tyler Huntley shares. Fire up your Tyler Huntley shares if you have a need in week number 18. Okay, it's a Friday. Every Friday, we talk to this gent on the show. He's not even a gentleman. He's a gent today. I don't really know why, but he's just a gent. I saw him yesterday, and you can find this over on Twitter X at Fantasy Guru site. I saw him doing something that we did earlier on the show today. He opened up some cards. Yeah, I see Russell there looking at the cards. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Let's bring him in. Russell, how you doing, bud?
Hey, what's going on, Ray?
We're trying to be like you. I got the holiday cards from 2024 Topps.
Let me get a peek here. Who'd you get?
Yeah, so we got Christmas stockings. There's Santa Claus. There's an elf behind him. We went through the pack. Nolan Jones, Spencer Steer, Spencer Torkelson, Jack Leiter, Trey Lipscomb. No one great. We did get a shirt. We got a Christian Egg shirt, which is kind of hard to see because of the green screen. It's kind of like a refractor.
Okay.
Ish. And it's like one a box. So I'm sure it's like a $2 card. I'm sure it's not very fancy, but kind of cool.
That's fun. We're having fun, Ray.
Having fun. Yeah, we got the draft guide dropping on Monday over at fantasyguru.com. And so I'm going to open a pack up every day next week. I didn't even think of this until I saw you doing your stuff. So I'd already opened a couple packs up, unfortunately, from the box because the box is guaranteed a jersey card or an autograph card. I already got the jersey card.
Oh, you got it the first?
Yeah, second pack I opened up. Second pack I opened up out of the 10. I didn't show it yet. I'm saving it till next week. But but I did get a jersey card. So
all right,
there it is. What was the highlight yesterday for you on your card pack ripping?
So this year for sports cards, especially football, it's a really good class for trading cards because it's a good quarterback class. Now for fantasy purposes and dynasty, we're all about wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs, right?
Right.
They don't really care about that. They're all like quarterbacks. Like last year when I started back into sports cards, I walked in, right? And I'm like, all right, Jackson Smith and Najigba is going to be worth so much. And like all these random guys. And they're chasing Anthony Richardson and Bryce Young and Will Levis. I'm like, what are these people doing? But it's as much as it's the same sport, it's an entirely different like chase. Like Jackson Holiday, right? He wasn't very good fantasy-wise this year.
Right.
But so there you go. Like, people are chasing him like he's the new guy. So, I don't know. But I think it's fun.
Yeah,
look at that.
They give you an ornament in the box, too, because it's a holiday box. So, it's a little ornament. It's cardboard, but Jackson Holiday.
So there you go.
Yeah, all right. Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. Again, you can find on Twitter X at Fantasy Guru site. We retweeted him. You can find Russell directly at Russell J. Clay. And I think it's like a 45-minute show yesterday, right? Like it was a full-on, you and Armando had a whole discussion and everything, right?
Yeah, it started as us just wanting to rip some boxes of worthless cardboard, and then it turned into kind of a fun little thing. So we're thinking maybe do it again at some point, maybe get a few other folks involved if they want to join, and maybe do some giveaways for the subs. So
yeah, let's see here. Oh, I'll show it quickly on the screen. Okay, there it was. That's the card. If anyone had really quick eyes, that was the jersey card. They probably didn't see that. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Let's talk some football this week. And you're a dynasty guy, so I figured, with the season basically being over, one more final week, and then the playoffs, we kind of look ahead. And I was just talking about the Jets, and the Jets are obviously looking for a new head coach, trying to figure out what they're doing there this season. Aaron Rodgers, like, What do you do with Aaron Rodgers? Like he may not play next year. He might retire. Okay, so he might throw his 500 touchdown this week and retire. And okay, but let's assume, just for the sake of this discussion, he's the starting quarterback for somebody. What's the value of a guy like that? Because again, he's effective. If you're in a 2 QB league, a super flex league, he's usable. But he's old and no one likes him, and the end is near. What's the value of a guy like Aaron Rodgers?
So the value is gone. The value floor is gone. And sometimes this is a good thing. Like if he continues to play and he goes into next year, you'll just be able to get him for free, because not only was he not very valuable this year, but dynasty players, it's a fickle business, right? And more so than winning, people like looking at their rosters. That's 90% of why people play dynasty leagues. Just look at their right.
Yeah.
Like that's why we see everyone trading all those vet running backs in the offseason instead of just holding. They want to look at a pretty roster. Aaron Rodgers is like a pimple on that roster. So sometimes you can get him for like nothing now. And if he continues to play, you might get a QB3 for nothing. So not saying you want to have Aaron Rodgers on your team, but if someone just drops him this offseason, pick him up, have the pimple, be the acne guy on the face, and maybe get a free quarterback 3.
DeShaun Watson's like 100 years younger, but his career is on life support too. We're hearing that he may be done in Cleveland. I guess they're just going to pay him $150 million to not play, which is the dumbest contract ever given in sports history, probably. So we all said it at the time too. He has no value. Is he worth the roster spot? Like, is DeShaun Watson's career over? Is he a career backup? Is he out of the league? What are you seeing here? What are you thinking? What about DeShaun Watson? Do you stash him at the bottom of that roster?
Stash for free? Yes. Would I pay anything? No. And this is not a talent issue. This is his life got cratered to a point that I don't know many guys that can come back from that. And every time he goes on the field now, this is like a public shaming, Ray.
He settled a lawsuit like 2 weeks ago. He's still doing this. It's crazy.
So not only is it his personal life, but every time he steps on a football field, he has thousands of people hating him. And not like the Tom Brady or Pat Mahomes hate. This is like, so I don't even blame him that his career's gone totally sideways. It's a wild situation. So I think he's kind of done personally. So I think he's kind of done. That's my answer. So I wouldn't be pursuing him. The last 2 years I've kind of been like, well, if we see the Houston, I think the Houston guy is totally gone. It's gone.
Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. You mentioned Anthony Richardson. Let's talk a little bit about him. The easy analysis is big, fast, strong, runs the ball, yay, right?
Yeah.
The reality is can't complete a pass underneath 10 yards, can't stay on the field. And, to me, it's like, yeah, you're 6'4", 6'5", 240 pounds. You can run over a 6 foot, 200-pound defensive back. Good for you. But can you play quarterback? I don't know if he can play quarterback, and I don't know if he can stay on the football field, which is kind of the most important thing. Are people still dreaming on Anthony Richardson? If people are dreaming on him and he's on your roster, do you trade him?
So if this were Madden, right, there would be ways. He'd be like a cheat code in Madden. I'm sure he is right now, right? You mentioned the attributes. However, you need the right coach to optimize him. And we just saw this with Taysom Hill. It took a decade for them to figure out how to use Taysom Hill the right way. And now he's 34. Can I see avenues where Anthony Richardson becomes like a goal line quarterback and, plays 10 to 15 snaps a game and is a very valuable asset for a team? Yes. Can he ever be a good starter? Lean very heavily no. Right. I just don't see how it happens. He doesn't have the short area accuracy that you need. You just need it. So especially now, a decade ago, could he have gotten away with this? Maybe. Now I don't see anyway. So Does Steichen get fired? That's the real question, right? Like,
Right.
what is he, year 3, year 4?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's ugly there, but I imagine they try to move on after this year.
If someone says, hey, I want Anthony Richardson, here's a 3rd-round pick, is that enough? 2nd-round pick? 1st-round pick? Like, would you set what about the pick value if you're going to trade Anthony Richardson?
A 3rd. I would think about it.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't do it for a 3rd. I'd probably want a 2nd, but 3rds, I wouldn't get mad if someone sent a 3rd, I think. I'd be like, yeah, that's respectable.
Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Christian McCaffrey. It's easy to forget. I know a lot of people want to forget if they drafted him number 1 this year, that he was the number 1 pick according to about 99% of the fantasy universe. We are now 5 months down the road from that, and his career is kind of at a crossroads. Obviously, the Niners want him back. They're paying him to be a star next year. The scheme system, and the Niners already announced Shanahan's coming back, the whole thing. What do we do with Christian McCaffrey? He's not to the Aaron Rodgers level, right? But he's an aging player with tons of concerns. How aggressive do we try to get to attain Christian McCaffrey if he's on somebody else's team?
So this is not like Rodgers, and it's not like Watson. Christian McCaffrey may not be done, but I am done paying a 1st-round price tag for Christian. It's over for me. Okay. This year, he had injuries that were very ambiguous and just like, oh, he's sore. Like he has tendonitis. I mean,
but I still show up for work.
So tendonitis fair as a human, but I mean, I don't know much about Achilles tendonitis. He didn't tear it, but it sounds like a pretty big issue for him. And he doesn't seem like the type of guy that takes it easy at any point. So there's a chance this is just with him. And we've seen so many of these types of injuries end careers. He's 27. And we forget the Carolina years, how it ended there. 2 straight season-ending injuries. Now we're seeing that happen in San Francisco after some heavy usage Super Bowl runs. So I'm fading him if he's 1st round again. Once he gets into 2nd, 3rd round, maybe I'll take a peek, but he's not going to, right? It's going to be 1st round again, so I'm out.
Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com. Hey, Russell, you've got Deebo Samuel, and I know you're kind of nervous about Deebo Samuel. Let me get him from you in my Dynasty League. What do you want?
2nd. I want a 2nd minimum. But I probably want more than that to trade him and feel good about it. I do think his ceiling is gone. The ceiling season that he had in 2021 or 2022, that's no longer. But we did see, if you have him, we saw some signs of life, right, Ray?
We did.
He looked all right. So heading into next year, he's a vet where it won't cost much to acquire him because he screwed people over this year. That might be a shot. I might take a shot for super cheap, like a future 2nd. That's a range where you kind of feel uncomfortable about selling him and you kind of dig buying him. So I actually kind of think he's more of a buy heading into next year.
What about another wide receiver, Russell? T. Higgins. He's had a hard time staying on the field too, but when on the field, he's been very productive. This year, he's been amazingly productive with Joe Burrow, setting records for the team there in Cincinnati. So we know T. Higgins is good. We know he will be productive. There's a very high likelihood he's with another team. There's a very high likelihood that he's the wide receiver 1 on another team, but we don't know how that's going to play out. We don't know. So how do we evaluate T. Higgins heading into the offseason in the keeper league? If we have him, we hold him, I guess, right? But if we're, someone's knocking on the door and saying, hey, what do you want for T. Higgins? How do we evaluate a guy who's going to be a free agent with these injuries in his background?
I don't think you can trade T. Higgins if you have him. We saw the last month of the season, what he looks like when he's healthy. And it's why, right? Jamar Chase has been a 1st-round pick since 2022. T. Higgins has been going in the 2nd round of fantasy drafts despite having, the best receiver in the league on his team for 3 years now until, this year where people gave up, and for good reason. We can't forget why we all collectively made him a 4th, 5th round pick this year, because of this stretch where we saw it. We're seeing it. The ball skills, I mean, one of the best red zone receivers in the league, just immense ball skills. So we have to see where he lands. Does he take the money and go to New York and just flail away with some terrible quarterback now? I don't know. Does he go to Jacksonville, reunite with Trevor Lawrence, and be with Brian Thomas? That would be cool. There's so much variance with what he can do that I don't know. He's been fighting about this contract for years, so I feel like he's just going to go wherever they pay him the most, Ray. And we see how that goes sometimes, right?
I kind of get that same sense. Again, neither one of us know anything behind the scenes, but that's, give me my money. It's like, okay, I get it, but I don't know if that's going to end up in the best scenario for him or not.
Yeah, so I like him. He's uber talented. If you're all in, I get it. I get it, but there's a lot of other things. Once he gets that money, are things going to hurt a little more, right?
They already hurt a lot now. So, we'll see. Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. Russell, it's disappointing that Saquon Barkley is not going to get the opportunity this weekend to set the rushing.
Yeah.
It is. But he's had a magical season. He's an aging running back who's had a lot of injuries in his background, who's had a lot of touches in his background, who's likely to go over 400 touches this year when you include the playoffs. I don't know how his value could be any higher than it is right now. Is it time to sell? I remember the old Bill Walsh, get rid of the guy a year early versus a year late kind of thinking. I mean, if you put Saquon Barkley on the market in the Dynasty Keeper League, someone's going to look at that and they're going to pay, right? They're going to say, that's the piece that gets me the championship next year. What do you want? Is that the right way to go?
So, I lived through the era where I should have done that with every running back, the Le'Veon Bells, the Todd Gurleys, and I didn't sell any of them, and it sucked, right? They just turned to dust instantly. However,
you talked about this a lot. The older running backs, are you going to go that route again here?
I held Derrick Henry, and it worked out. So this is abstract art, guys. Saquon Barkley has had a lot of injuries, especially in New York. He got dinged up a few times this year, and we were one wrong turn away from him being out for the year with an ankle injury. So I love Saquon. I'm holding him. I believe we could get another 2 to 3 years out of this. Not to this degree, but I would just be holding. There's nobody in the league right now. I mean, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit that I would really love to have instead of Saquon right now, but it's really more, Ray, the Philly running back, right? I want the starting running back for Philly because we saw Saquon last year in New York and he was kind of whatever. But this Jalen Hurts, Saquon thing, there's just 25 touchdowns on the table every year. So it's more about the Eagles starting running back. So I want to hold on to that as long as I can.
Heading into this season, Jeff Mans in particular was very vocal, Russell, about the likelihood of Sam LaPorta being overdrafted after his impressive rookie season. And I'm trying to remember, I think his ADP was like 28,
crazy,
27. It was second round, third round everywhere. And that draft capital was burned. Didn't work. However, Sam LaPorta in the second half of the season has been much more productive. He's got 5 touchdowns in the last 7 games, and those 7 games averaging about 14 PPR points. Now, the Lions, they have the injury to David Montgomery, but we do have the ascension of Jameis Williams, who's no longer running just fly routes. He's now catching 5 passes every week. You mentioned Jahmyr Gibbs. So it's not that Sam LaPorta isn't going to be an effective tight end, because he's set up to exactly be that, as he has ended up being this year. But the real question is, who is he moving forward? Is he last year's guy? Is he this year's guy? How do we evaluate him? He's a top 10 tight end, but how high does he go in a keeper setup?
So we were all looking for the Travis Kelce replacement because we knew that era was over. And let's all admit it, everyone. We all tried to force Sam LaPorta into that role when he never really was. I mean, the expectations Travis Kelce created for the tight end one, Ray, was never really a thing. We had the Gronk and Jimmy Graham for a few years, but Travis Kelce was getting 100 catches for a half decade. That's never been, we get guys that do that for a year or two and then they fall off. So LaPorta getting 86 catches in his rookie year, we wanted to see him ascend. He's really just kind of staying where he was. So I think LaPorta's the man. He's going to continue to be a really good tight end. But the guy is Brock Bowers. That is our tight end one. That is our man. We need him to stay healthy. And that's going to be our 100 catch, 1,500 receiving yard guy, regardless of the quarterback. He was having Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew and Desmond Ridder throwing him the ball, and he broke every record this year. So that's our guy. No fault on LaPorta. It's okay. You're not the guy. Bowers is the guy. The world is right.
It's come up a couple of times in Discord the last week or so, including yesterday. Brock Bowers. I have Brock Bowers. I'm going to trade Brock Bowers. We're talking in Dynasty League here. I have Malik Neighbors. I'm going to trade Malik Neighbors. And I've said both times, I've almost not even answered the question. I'm like, no. Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors, they're the answer. We're not trading the answer in a Dynasty League. The only way you do that if someone says, here's 2 first-round draft picks, I'll throw in Travis Kelce. Oh, you want Jalen Hurts? Here we go. I mean, it's got to be something stupid for an overpay. Am I taking it too far? If you've got a guy like Bowers or Neighbors, can you possibly trade these guys? Like, aren't they the guys you've been hoping to get on your Dynasty League forever?
Those are the guys we want. You'd have to do a lot for me to trade Brock Bowers, right? Like, you'd have to drag me out and steal my computer and take my login. And that would be the point you'd need to make me trade Brock Bowers right now. Malik Neighbors, I mean, if you're trying to get a Jamar Chase, maybe, like if you're trading for someone else in that tier, right? Or Justin Jefferson, beyond that, these are the guys you wanted, and they're 21, 22, and you have the setup. So those are your building blocks for the future. I get the thought of, okay, well, now I can get more first round picks and now I can get more and more, but it's like, more what? Right? Like,
you're gonna go draft Josh Rosen in the first round. Great.
Yeah. Like more potential misses at that point.
Yeah.
So, I view the same with Superflex quarterbacks. If you have a Pat Mahomes, if you have a Josh Allen, if you have a Lamar, if you have a Hurts, if you have a Stroud or whatever, and you heard some names in there that had kind of down years, Stroud in particular and Mahomes, I'm just holding them forever. Like, there's so many bad quarterbacks that bust out. If I hit one, Stroud's going to be around for a decade. I'm going to ride the bad years through. And I feel like a lot of people gave up on Mahomes fantasy-wise this year, and I'm just like, guys, okay, all right, but I don't know. So, yeah, when I see that, and the other problem is after you trade someone, you have to realize you're going to be playing against that player. So when Malik Neighbors goes for 40 points on you in week 5, you'll be like, oh, yeah, I had him once.
Yeah. Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. Let's look at some of the comments before we shut things down here on a Friday, Russell. Doug M says he's back from his sabbatical. So he's good to be back. And he won his championship with the help from us. So he said, thank you.
Let's go.
It's kind of nice to see that, right? Like, we've seen a lot of that in Discord lately. We get a lot of people yelling at us and screaming and telling us we're stupid and dumb. It's nice when the folks say thank you or we appreciate you, because we appreciate them, right?
Shout out to Doug. Congrats. That's what it's all about.
Do you have a bunch of championships this year? I was in 4 semifinals. I went 0-4. So I was Mr. Third Place this year. What about you?
So I have a lot of best ball dynasties, the start sit ones. I had the best regular season team of my entire life, and we lost in this. me and my buddy Nathan, we lost in the second round, just got obliterated. Guy scored the highest score of all time in a 10-year-old dynasty league.
Wow.
Did take down one league and then, a bunch of first-round playoff exits. So pretty good. Playoffs I'm happy with. And then championships are the gravy.
Henry says a question. He's talking about Week 18. Chargers or Denver for defense this week? The Chargers face off with the Raiders. Denver faces off against Kansas City. So currently we've got the Chargers ahead of the Broncos in our rankings over at fantasyguru.com. Would you agree with that? Would you go Chargers or Broncos this week, Russell?
So hear me out, guys. Last year, I forget, there was a Chad Henne drive within the last couple years that I placed a lot of money on the other team. And I was like, oh, Chiefs, no Pat Mahomes, they're screwed. But then it was still the Chiefs with Chad Henne, and they drove down the field in a playoff game and scored a touchdown with Chad Henne, who's like 38 years old. And I said, oh, yeah, okay. So even on a week, the Broncos are 10-point favorites this week. All indications are they should crush the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs are not really trying to win this game. I might go with the Broncos there.
Okay.
But just recognize when it's the second quarter and Carson Wentz has 230 passing yards and 4 touchdowns that I'm suffering with you. So, right?
Yeah, and the answer is just don't play team defense. But anyway, because it's just so random. Eric S. says, look at Eric. I think you left a comment on Twitter X. Maybe you can leave comments on Twitter X now. I don't know. We're trying to integrate things.
Cool, Eric.
Yeah. Welcome, Eric. Good to see you again. He said, hello, guys. Can't believe we're entering Week 18. The season seems to go by faster and faster. Just a thank you for all the advice and suggestions over the year. Best wishes for a successful 2025. Same to you, Eric. Do you have any resolutions, Russell? Are you a resolution guy?
Maybe eat a little healthier. Be cool. Have fun. Chill.
You're already cool. You can't have a resolution to be who you are. Come on, Russell.
Listen to classical music once a month. No, jokes aside, maybe put down the phone a little more. That's my one resolution. That thing's glued to me at this point. So that's one of them.
I think everyone needs to do that.
Yeah. I think we all as a country need to be like, all right, hour, 25 minutes a day. Can I do it? Probably not.
Hal says, he asked a question. Ray, did you play fantasy with your cards as a kid? I did not. I didn't play. We traded cards all the time because I had a group of friends. There were a couple kids down the street, my brother. So we were trading cards like every week. But when I was a kid, I played. We had, I'm so old, we had the Atari 2600. Then we had the Sega, the Nintendo. So we used to play sports games on there. But honestly, the majority of the time, my friends and I were outside. My mom and dad had to keep us in the house because we just wanted to get outside and play, which I know is kids now don't leave the house because they have their phone or their pad or tablet. They made us stay inside till 8:30 during summer because we were wanting to just tear out there and go play in the street and everything like that. So we collected cards as kids. We didn't play fantasy with the cards. Again, I'm older. I'm just over 50. So fantasy was new. I didn't even play fantasy until like my last year of high school. Did you do a lot of card stuff when you were kids, Russell?
I was going to say cards, even in the 90s and 2000s, maybe it was, but as kids, we just had base cards. And so in Western Mass, we don't have many NFL players, but we did have a Packers tight end. Mark Chmura was a local guy. Right. So his cards were like, his base cards were, kind of the cool thing for us. But we weren't thinking about like now everyone's like, you can win a house.
Yeah, right.
That's how valuable cards are now. We were like, a Brett Favre card, like base card. We were like, oh, sweet. It's Brett
$4.
Yeah. Like Jerry Rice. We were like, so it was more of a, casual fun thing back then.
Hal's got a follow-up question. We were talking about the issues with Christian McCaffrey, and he wants to have a follow-up about Isaac Guerendo.
Yeah.
What's the cost of Guerendo in a dynasty league? Is it good? I would assume you're going to say it's a good time to buy because I would say that. I missed out on drafting him by one pick in my dynasty league this year, which really bothered me. what are we doing here? I mean, his value is certainly on the way up. But
I'll be honest, I like Guerendo and I'm in, but I do wonder if this year Kyle Shanahan's coming into the offseason saying I might be looking at one of these running backs. Because Guerendo got his opportunity and was unable to stay healthy. Same with Jordan Mason and same with McCaffrey. So I do wonder if they look to bring somebody in. But yeah, Guerendo, super explosive, great system. I'm in on the talent, but the cost, Ray. I wonder if the cost might be a little steep.
Well, I mean, like 4th round pick is there. I mean. It all depends.
4th, I'll buy. Yeah, 4th, I'm in.
Yeah, it all depends how people view players, and that's the thing. Like, I know people always ask us, Ray, what do you think? Russell, what do you think? What I think might be slightly different than what Russell thinks. What might be slightly different than you think. What might be slightly different than what they think.
I think we're all in the same value range.
Okay.
But buying versus what the 49ers might bring in this offseason, it's a good running back class. So, we could be – I would wait till after the draft to buy Guerendo.
And by then we'll be getting the stories that Christian McCaffrey's in great shape and everything too. So he'll probably be better anyway, cheaper for Guerendo. Just hope he doesn't run for 170 yards this weekend and 2 touchdowns.
There you go.
David P., did you use clothespins and put the cards on spokes in your bikes?
Yes.
You did do that, Russell.
Yeah.
Okay.
We ruined all our cards were thrown in buckets and dinged, and we didn't care at all. Yeah.
You actually really did. See, I never did that. I had a friend who used to put them up on a board, like a cork board, like he put the pin through the card.
Oh, yeah.
Hang it. I'm like, can you at least put the pin above the card and just use the pin itself to push it in, instead of putting a hole in it? He did it with a Jerry Rice rookie card.
I know.
So he still has it with the pinhole in it. So we did that. I never actually put them in my spokes. I did it one time. I remember I did it once just to do it. And I don't even remember who the hell it was. I have a feeling it was some flunky Toronto Blue Jay or something from like the 1985 top set. But you actually did that. What kind of bike did you have? Did you have a Huffy? Did you have a Schwinn?
No, I forgot. Probably the one from Toys R Us that I wanted and bothered my mother for,
Okay.
But it was probably the $100 one, but I thought it was, the coolest one ever.
I don't want to give up. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was the best.
My best bike as a kid was a Diamondback. Yeah. Had the holographic sticker on it. Yeah. I know. Yeah. It was pretty.
Anything holographic, we were in. Yeah.
And my brother had a Huffy. My brother had the Huffy with the pegs. Those were the big thing when I was young. The pegs. So, you could stand on it and hop, and it always ended up having your friend sitting on the handlebars with his feet on the pegs or something. But
always ended bad. I wanted nothing to do with the pegs, Ray, I'll be honest.
He's Russell Clay. I'm Ray Flowers. Russell joins us every Friday here on the show. Lots going on. What's going on for you the next couple of days? Kind of the same old, same old?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, the college football season's wrapping up. The entertainment value is great, but DFS season, we got a bunch of small slates left. Going to be putting out for Clay's Corner that the box breaking with Armando. We ripped 2 2024 blaster boxes of cards. So if you're into that stuff, go check that out. And lots of fantasy championships, but a lot of people are doing the Week 18 stuff and then off to the NFL playoffs. So it's a fun time of year.
You going to be involved in any postseason tournaments here for fantasy? You going to do a one and done or anything like that? Is that
probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not staying away. Let's be honest.
And when will your first best ball draft for 2025 be?
So I know, right? Are people already doing it? They probably are, right?
Probably, yeah.
I usually wait now. I give myself a few weeks here, but that's hilarious. People are probably going to be showing their drafts next week, right? They probably are.
Yeah. Russell Clay, I'm Ray Flowers. Russell, thanks as always. We'll bring you back on next Friday if you're still inclined.
Let's do it.
Good time. If you have a pack of cards laying around, hell, you can open it up on the show too.
I mean, we might have to, Ray.
Yeah, I know, right? Maybe I'll save one of these baseball ones and we could open it up together or something.
Please do.
Okay. He's Russell Clay. Russell, thanks for joining us. Russell J. Clay on Twitter X, at fantasyguru.com. College football, seasonal football, dynasty football, Discord, all that kind of stuff. Thanks for your time today, Russell.
Awesome. Thanks, Ray.
You got it. He's Russell Clay. I'm Ray Flowers. Good luck in Week 18, no matter what way you're playing. We can help you at fantasyguru.com. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. Send a note to support@fantasyguru.com. Send that email, support@fantasyguru.com, if you want to get involved. And remember, 3 days away from the release of the 2025 baseball product at fantasyguru.com, Monday, January 6th. I see Russell nodding his head. He'll be reading all the articles that come out on Monday as well. For Russell, I'm Ray. This has been Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by fantasyguru.com.